The
Look at her
words sat on
hands.
my tongue long
Right
before
now,
I
if you're
ever
on a
spoke
date,
them.
in a conversation,
Heavy,
or even
dangerous,
just hanging out
the
with a
kind of
woman you're
words that
into,
change things
pay
once
close
they're
attention
released.
to what her
I
hands are
told
doing.
myself I would keep
Because
them
more
buried,
often
that
than
silence was
not,
safer,
her hands
that
are
some
screaming
feelings were
something
never
her
meant to be
words might
named.
never say.
But the longer I
They're
stayed
telling you
quiet,
she's
the
ready.
louder they became.
Ready for you to
It was
lean
late
in,
when it happened.
close the
The
distance,
building
and
was
kiss her.
almost empty,
Most
the
guys
halls
miss this
dim and
completely.
echoing, like the
They
place itself
overthink,
was listening.
hesitate,
We were
wait
supposed
for
to be
some verbal
finishing
green
work,
light
just
that
two
never
people
comes,
staying a little
and then
longer
the
than
moment
necessary.
passes.
That's
They
what it
end up
always looked like
friend-zoned,
from the outside.
ghosted, or stuck
Inside, it
in
was
endless
something else
talking
entirely.
stages because they didn't
He
read the
stood near
signals
the
she was
window,
literally
city
putting
lights
right in
spilling
front of
across
him.
his face,
If you've ever
making
walked
him
away
look
from a
distant and
perfect night
familiar all at
thinking,
once.
man,
I watched
I
him
should have
longer
gone
than
for
I
it,
should have,
or felt that gut
memorizing the way
punch
his
when she
shoulders
pulls back
tensed when
later,
he thought
this
too
video
much,
is for
the way
you.
he went quiet when
Today,
something
I'm
mattered.
breaking down the
I
real
had learned his
signs,
habits without
especially
ever
those
meaning
coming from
to.
her
That
hands,
was the first
that show
mistake.
she's waiting
"You're
for your
quiet
kiss.
tonight,"
These
he
aren't
said
random
without turning
gestures or
around.
nervous
"I'm
habits.
always
They're
quiet,"
rooted in
I
female
replied.
psychology,
He
body
smiled
language
faintly.
science, and
"Not like
evolutionary
this."
cues that have
I
been
didn't
around
answer,
forever.
because
But
if I
here's the
did, I
deeper
might say the
truth
wrong
most men
thing.
never get.
Or worse,
These
the right
signs
one.
only
There
appear
had
when you've
always been
already
rules
built
between
real
us.
attraction.
Not
And
written,
the
not
one
spoken
powerful
aloud, but
shift you need to
understood.
make is
We
what
didn't
creates
linger
the
too
space for her
close.
to show them in
We
the
didn't
first
ask
place.
personal
Stick
questions.
around,
We didn't
because
talk
by
about
the
the way the
end,
air
you'll
changed when we
never
were
miss
alone.
that moment again.
Those rules had kept
You'll
us
know
safe for a long
exactly when to
time.
go for the
Or at
kiss,
least they had
why
kept
she
us
pulls away
pretending.
when you don't,
"I should
and
go,"
how to
I
become the
said,
man
even though I
she
didn't
can't stop
move.
thinking about.
He turned
Let's
then,
face the
slowly, as
painful
if he
reality
already knew
first.
what was coming.
You've probably
"You
been
don't
there.
sound
Great
like you want
conversation,
to."
good vibes,
"I
she's
don't want
laughing at your
to,"
jokes,
I
but you
admitted.
freeze.
The
You
honesty
don't make the
surprised
move.
both of us.
Why?
The silence that
Because you're
followed
still
felt
playing the old
fragile.
game.
One
The
wrong
game where
word
you
could shatter
chase,
it.
prove yourself,
He took a step
give endless
closer, then
attention,
stopped,
and hope
respecting a
she'll
distance
reward
that
you
had
with
started to feel
closeness.
like a
But
lie.
that approach
"You know
is
this isn't
exactly why
simple,"
nice
he
guys
said.
finish last.
"I know,"
Chasing
I
repels
whispered.
women on a
"That's why I
deep
haven't
level.
said
The
anything."
more you pursue,
His eyes
the more
searched
she
my
pulls
face,
away.
careful,
It's
almost
not because
guarded.
she's playing hard
"Said
to
what?"
get or being
My
mean.
heart started
It's
racing.
biology and
This was it.
psychology at
The
work.
moment I had
When you
replayed in my
chase
head
hard,
100 times,
constant
always
texts,
ending with me
always
staying
available,
quiet, walking
showering
away, choosing
compliments
sense
without
over
her earning
truth.
them,
My
you
hands
flip the
trembled
value
slightly at my
dynamic.
sides.
You become the
"Nothing,"
one who
I
needs her
said quickly.
validation.
He studied
Attention
me for a
becomes
long
cheap
second, then
currency
nodded.
when you flood the
"Okay."
market with it.
That should have been the
Women
end of
are
it.
wired to chase
That was my
what's
chance to
scarce.
leave, to keep
Evolution
everything
taught them
exactly
to
as it
seek
was.
men who
I took
demonstrate
one
high
step toward the
value,
door, then
confidence,
another. Each
independence,
one felt heavier
emotional
than the
strength.
last.
A
By the
man who
time my
doesn't need
hand
her
reached the
approval feels
handle, my
rare,
chest ached.
exciting,
I almost
rewarding.
didn't say it,
But when you're
I said
always
suddenly.
proving your worth,
He froze.
always
The
available,
room seemed to hold its
always
breath
giving,
as he turned
her
back to
attraction
me.
shuts down.
"Say what?"
She
I
senses
closed my
desperation,
eyes for a brief
even if it's
second,
wrapped in
gathering whatever
kindness.
courage I had
Nice
left.
guys finish
"That I
last
think
because
about
their
you more than I
niceness
should."
often comes from
The words hung
insecurity,
between us,
not
quiet
strength.
but
They
powerful.
give without
When I
boundaries,
opened my
hoping
eyes, his
she'll see their
expression had
value.
changed.
Instead,
Shock giving way to
she
something
sees someone
deeper,
who
something
doesn't value
unguarded.
himself enough to
"That's
set
not fair,"
standards.
he
The
said
more you give
softly.
without her
"I
investing
know,"
back,
I
the less
replied.
she feels the
I tried
thrill.
not to. I
Desire
swear I
builds in the
did.
tension,
He
in the
ran a hand through
uncertainty,
his hair,
in her
pacing
wondering
once
about
like he
you.
needed
When you
movement to
remove
think.
that by
"You
chasing,
can't just say
you
that,"
kill the
he
spark before
murmured.
it can
"You
ignite
can't
into
say it
real
and expect
intimacy.
nothing to
Now,
change.
let's get clear
"I'm
on
not
the
expecting
psychology
anything,"
behind female
I said.
attraction.
I just
Women
didn't
aren't
want to keep
attracted the
lying.
same way men
He
are.
stopped in front
For
of me,
men,
close
it's
enough now
often
that I could feel
visual
the
and
warmth of him.
immediate.
So
For
he didn't
women,
touch me.
it's layered,
That restraint
emotional,
mattered more than he knew.
psychological,
"You
instinctual.
don't understand
Her
how hard
brain
this
is scanning
already
for
is,"
safety,
he said.
status,
"I
and
do,"
excitement.
I replied
A
quietly.
pursuer signals
"Because
low
it's hard for me
status.
too."
I need
His
you
breath
more than
caught
you need
slightly
me.
at that.
That triggers
For a
her
moment,
defenses.
neither of us
She
spoke.
pulls
The
away to
truth had
protect her
finally stepped
emotional
into the
investment.
light, and it
But a
looked bigger than
man who
either of
doesn't
us had
chase,
imagined.
he
"This
signals
isn't allowed,"
abundance.
he said.
He's fulfilled
"I
on his
know.
own. That
This could
creates
ruin
polarity.
things.
She
I know
feels
that too.
feminine next to
Then why
masculine
say
strength.
it?" I
She
met his
starts
eyes,
chasing
steady
because
despite the
pursuing the
fear.
scarce feels
Because
rewarding.
pretending it doesn't
Dopamine
exist hurts
floods her
more.
system every
Something
time she
shifted
gets your
then.
attention. attention
Not
or
dramatically.
approval. It's why
Not
women
suddenly.
move toward men who
Just
don't
a
need
subtle
them.
change, like
Those
a door
men feel like
cracking
a
open.
prize worth winning.
He
This
exhaled
isn't
slowly,
games.
the tension in
It's
his
human
shoulders
nature.
easing just a little.
Studies on
I
attraction show
almost
women
asked you
respond
something
strongest
once,
to men
he
displaying
admitted, and I
self-sufficiency
didn't.
and quiet
What
confidence.
stopped you?
When you're not
He
proving,
said,
you're proving
and
the
the
most
fact that I
important
didn't
thing.
trust myself
Your
to hear
worth
your
isn't up
answer.
for debate.
The admission
So,
sent a strange
what's the
warmth
one
through me.
powerful
Not
shift that
triumph.
changes everything?
Not relief.
Stop pursuing
Just
and
understanding.
start proving your
We had
value
been standing
through
on the
presence,
same edge
not
for a long
pressure.
time,
Become
both
the
too afraid
prize
to
without
jump.
arrogance.
The words
This
sat on my
means
tongue
living a
long
life you're
before I
proud
ever
of,
spoke them.
Jim, friends,
Heavy,
goals,
dangerous.
passions.
The
So
kind
your
of
time
words
and
that change
attention
things
are
once they're
genuinely
released.
valuable.
I told
You
myself
respond
I would
warmly
keep them
when she
buried, that
reaches out,
silence was
but you
safer,
don't
that
initiate
some
every
feelings
time.
were never meant
You
to be
share
named.
stories from your
But
world.
the longer I
Let
stayed
her ask
quiet, the louder
questions.
they became.
Let her invest.
It was late when
Pursuing
it happened.
is chasing
The building
approval.
was almost
Proving
empty,
is
the halls
demonstrating
dim
your
and
high
echoing,
value
like the place
naturally.
itself was listening.
Attention becomes
We were supposed to
premium
be
currency
finishing work,
when it's
just
scarce.
two people staying
Women
a little
chase
longer than
what's
necessary.
hard to get
That's
because
what
it
it
feels
always looked like
exclusive.
from the
By
outside.
becoming the prize
Inside, it was something
authentically,
else
you
entirely.
create the conditions
He
where her
stood near
body
the
language
window,
opens
city
up,
lights spilling across
especially
his
her
face,
hands,
making him
signaling
look
she's
distant
ready
and
for more.
familiar all at
Let's
once.
see this in real
I
life.
watched him longer than I
Imagine
should
you're on a
have,
date.
memorizing the way
Conversation's
his
flowing.
shoulders tensed
If
when he
you've been
thought too
chasing,
much, the
she
way he
might
went
keep her
quiet when
hands
something
closed,
mattered.
arms
I had
crossed,
learned his habits
phone in
without
hand,
ever meaning to.
distant.
That was the
But if
first
you've made the
mistake.
shift,
You're
her
quiet
hands
tonight,
start telling the
he said
story.
without turning
First
around.
sign from her
I'm
hands,
always quiet,
she touches
I
her hair
replied.
repeatedly,
He smiled
twirling
faintly.
it, tucking
Not
it
like
behind her
this.
ear,
I
letting
didn't
strands
answer,
fall across
because
her
if I
face,
did, I
then
might say
brushing
the
them
wrong
away
thing.
slowly.
Or worse,
This isn't
the
just
right
fidgeting.
one. There
It's
had always been
preening,
rules
drawing
between us.
attention to her
Not
femininity,
written, not spoken
exposing
aloud,
her
but
neck
understood.
subtly, a
We didn't
vulnerability
linger too
signal rooted
close.
in biology.
We didn't ask
When she
personal
does this while
questions.
looking at you,
We didn't talk about the
especially
way
with
the
soft
air
eyes,
changed when we were
she's
alone.
inviting you closer.
Those rules had kept
Second
us safe
sign,
for a long time.
her hands
Or at
move
least
to her
they had
lips
kept
or
us
face.
pretending.
She
I should
lightly
go,
touches her lips,
I said, even though I
traces them
didn't
with a
move.
finger,
He
bites her
turned
lower
then,
lip
slowly,
gently,
as if he
or
already knew
applies
what was
lip balm
coming.
slowly
You don't
while
sound like
maintaining
you
eye
want to.
contact.
I
This
don't
draws
want to,
focus to her
I
mouth,
admitted.
the kiss
The
zone.
honesty surprised both of
Psychologically,
us.
it's
The silence
subconscious
that followed
preparation
felt
and
fragile.
signaling.
One wrong
I'm
word
thinking
could
about
shatter it.
intimacy.
He took a
Combined
step
with the
closer,
triangle
then
gaze,
stopped,
eyes to
respecting
your
a distance
eyes,
that had
to your
started
lips,
to feel
back
like a
to
lie.
eyes.
You
It's
know
one
this
of the
isn't
strongest
simple, he
indicators
said.
she's
I
imagining
know,
the kiss.
I whispered.
Third sign,
That's why I
wrist
haven't said
exposure
anything.
or open palms toward
His
you.
eyes searched
She
my
flips
face,
her wrist
careful,
while
almost
gesturing,
guarded.
shows the
Said
soft
what?
underside,
My
or
heart
places
started
her hands
racing.
palm up
This
on
was
the
it.
table near yours.
The moment I had replayed in
Wrists
my
are
head
a trust
100
area,
times,
vulnerable
always
pulse
ending with me
points.
staying quiet,
Exposing
walking
them
away,
signals
choosing
comfort
sense over
and
truth.
attraction.
My
If
hands
she
trembled
grazes your
slightly at
hand
my
lightly,
sides.
or lets her
Nothing,
fingers linger
I
near
said
yours
quickly.
without pulling
He
away,
studied me for a
that's
long
deliberate.
second, then nodded.
She's testing
Okay.
closeness,
That should
waiting
have
for
been
you
the
to
end
bridge
of
the
it.
gap.
That was
In
my chance to
texting,
leave, to
it
keep everything
translates
exactly as
indirectly.
it was.
She sends
I took one
selfies
step
touching her
toward the
hair
door,
or lips.
then
4
another.
replies
Each
faster
one
when you
felt
pull
heavier
back
than the
slightly.
last.
In
By the time my
relationships,
hand
these
reached the
signs
handle, my
escalate.
chest ached.
Her hand on your
I
thigh,
almost didn't say
fingers
it, I
tracing your
said
arm,
suddenly.
or
He froze.
playfully covering your
The room
mouth,
seemed
then
to hold
moving
its
closer.
breath as he
What
turned
if she
back to
pulls
me.
away?
Say
Don't
what?
chase harder.
I closed
That's
my
the
eyes
old
for a
trap.
brief second,
Instead,
gathering
give
whatever
space.
courage I had
Mirror
left.
her energy.
That I think about you
Focus
more
on
than
yourself.
I should.
When
The words
attraction is
hung
real,
between us,
she'll
quiet
come
but
back
powerful.
stronger.
When I
Hands
opened my
opening,
eyes, his
gestures
expression had
inviting,
changed.
because
Shock
scarcity
giving way to
reignites
something
her
deeper,
pursuit.
something
Men mess
unguarded.
this up all
That's
the time
not
when
fair,
trying to
he
shift.
said softly.
Biggest mistake,
I know,
playing
I
games,
replied.
ignoring
I tried
texts
not
for
to.
days,
I swear
acting
I did.
uninterested on purpose.
He ran a hand through
that
his
feels
hair,
manipulative,
pacing once
not
like he
confident.
needed movement to
She
think.
senses the
You
ploy
can't
and
just
loses
say
respect.
that, he murmured.
Another,
You
going
can't say
cold,
it and expect
short
nothing to
answers,
change.
no warmth.
I'm not
That
expecting
kills connection.
anything, I
Women
said.
want strength
I just
with
didn't want
kindness,
to keep lying.
not ice.
He stopped
Being
in front of
fake
me, close
alpha,
enough now that I
bragging,
could feel the
negging,
warmth of him.
forcing
So he
dominance
didn't touch me.
backfires hard.
That restraint
It
mattered more
screams
than he knew.
insecurity.
You
The
don't
real
understand
shift
how
is
hard this
internal.
already is,
Genuine
he said.
self-worth.
I do,
Build your life,
I replied
so you're the
quietly,
prize naturally.
because it's hard
no
for me
tricks,
too.
just
His breath
alignment
caught
with
slightly at
psychology.
that.
Here's
For
how
a
to
moment,
apply this
neither
today.
of us spoke.
Step 1.
The truth had
Audit your
finally stepped
behavior.
into the light,
For the next
and
week,
it looked bigger than
notice
either
how
of us
often
had
you
imagined.
initiate versus her.
This isn't allowed,
Pull back
he
slightly.
said.
Let her come
I
to you
know.
sometimes.
This could
Use
ruin
the
things.
space to hit the gym.
I know that
See
too.
friends, pursue
Then why
hobbies.
say it?
Step
I met
2.
his eyes, steady
When you're with
despite
her,
the fear.
observe her
Because
hands
pretending it doesn't
deliberately.
exist hurts
Look
more.
for hair touches,
Something
lip
shifted
contact,
then.
wrist
Not
exposure,
dramatically.
open
Not
palms.
suddenly.
Don't stare,
Just a subtle
be
change,
present.
like a door
If you
cracking
see
open.
clusters of signs,
He
lean in
exhaled slowly, the
maintain eye
tension in his
contact.
shoulders
Give
easing
her
just a
time to
little.
close or
I
pull
almost
away.
asked you you something
Step
once,
3.
he admitted,
Build tension
and I
naturally.
didn't.
Share
What
exciting
stopped you?
stories.
He
Tease
said,
lightly.
and the fact
Let
that I didn't
silences
trust
linger.
myself to hear
Touch
your
early
answer.
but calibrated.
The admission sent a
Hand
strange
on lower
warmth
back
through
guiding
me.
her.
Not
Playful arm
triumph,
tap.
not
If she
relief,
reciprocates,
just understanding.
escalate based on
We
her
had been
signals.
standing on the same
Step
edge
4.
for a long
When she
time,
pulls
both
away,
too
don't
afraid to
panic.
jump.
Say
I'm not
something
asking you to
understanding
choose
like,
me,
no
I said.
rush, I'm good
I'm
either
not
way.
asking for anything.
Then live your life.
He looked
Post
at me
subtly
then
about
really
your
looked at me
adventures.
like he was trying to
Not
read
to
every
provoke,
thought I hadn't
but to
spoken.
show abundance.
That might be
Step
worse.
5.
Why?
Recognize when
Because
she's
it means
chasing.
you said it for
She
yourself,
initiates
he
texts,
replied.
asks personal
Not to
questions,
change me.
touches
I
you
nodded.
first,
I needed to
mirrors
be
your
honest.
energy.
Just
Her hands will
once.
be open,
The city
reaching
lights
toward
flickered
you.
behind him,
That's your cue.
the world
She's
outside
invested.
carrying on like nothing
Step 6.
important was happening.
Work on inner game
Inside
daily.
that room, everything
Journal
felt
strengths.
different.
Meditate
Not
on
broken.
abundance.
just
Read Psychology of
exposed.
Attraction.
He took a step
Confidence
back, creating
compounds.
space again, as
The
if
more secure
reminding
you
both of
feel,
us where the line
the
was.
clearer her
We
signals
can't
become.
cross it,
Putting
he
it
said
together.
firmly.
Chasing kills
I know,
attraction
I
because
said,
it devalues
and this
you.
time I meant it.
Women are
But
wired
even
for
as we stood
scarcity,
apart, the
drawn to
distance
men who
felt
prove worth
charged,
naturally.
alive with
The
everything
one
we had
shift,
finally allowed
become the
ourselves
prize
to
authentically.
acknowledge.
Create
I should
space
go
for her
now,
body
I
language
said
to
again.
scream desire,
He nodded.
especially through
Yeah,
her hands.
you should.
Hair touches,
I walked
lip
toward the door,
focus,
slower this
wrist
time, my
exposure,
heart still
open
pounding.
gestures.
Before I
You
reached
felt
it,
the
he spoke once
frustration
more.
of missing
I'm
moments.
glad you said it,
Now you
he
have
said
clarity on the
quietly.
psychology
I turned
and a
surprised.
clear path
You
forward.
are.
Stop
He
waiting
met my
for permission.
gaze, his expression
Start reading the
unreadable
signs
but
she's already
sincere.
giving.
Even if
When
we
her
can't
hands
act
start
on
moving
it,
that way,
it mattered.
trust
I
yourself
smiled
and go for the
faintly,
kiss.
a mix of
You'll be
sadness and
amazed
relief.
how natural it
It
feels
did.
when the foundation
I
is
opened the
real
door and
attraction.
stepped into the
If this
hallway,
hit
the
home,
cool air grounding
smash
me.
that like button.
Behind me, the door
Subscribe for
closed
more
softly.
raw,
No
psychology-based
dramatic goodbye.
advice and
No
comment below.
promises.
What's
Just the
one
truth
hand
finally
signal you've
spoken.
noticed from a woman
I almost
before?
didn't say it,
Drop it, I
but
read
I
them
did.
all.
And
You've got
even though
this.
nothing between
Go
us had
claim the
changed on the
connection you
surface,
deserve.
every